One of my favorite ways to deal with stress or anxiety is to look at the things that are weighing heavy on my mind, so the to-do things, and to get them done. But that seems a lot easier said than done, right? So one of the ways you can work around this is to write those things down on a list first and foremost, and that may be as far as you go with it, but by writing them down, what happens is you get to have that part of your brain that is very preoccupied with those things to feel acknowledged and like you're aware of them as well, so it doesn't step into that panic mode. As such, it can go, oh cool, you've written them down, great, you're looking at it, awesome, I can relax a little. And once you've written them down, it actually feels a lot less stressful, whether it's because it's a busy to-do list or because it's things that you didn't really want to look at for whatever reason. What happens is it kind of clarifies things, at least to a degree. You get to see everything as it is, and it can be to do things, or it can be things that have kind of been like little messages, whether you call it from the universe or you're in a guidance or wisdom, and you want to look at those things before it gets to the Mack truck point of getting you to pay attention. So where that metaphorical Mack truck comes along and you have no choice but to pay attention, you cannot ignore it. So it can be those to-do things, or it can be the little things that you've been given as a message to pay attention to, whatever it is, or to look into, whether it's reflecting, like self-reflection, and sort of sit with for a little bit and process. Sometimes, and I find at the moment particularly, but in general, that can be the biggest thing that we avoid, is the sitting and the processing and the being with, because we can be so busy. But there's just that sense of stress and anxiety that can arise because we know that we're not paying attention to things that will feel a little clearer or might feel good once we do pay attention to them, but maybe take a little bit of extra energy to. So write these things down on a list. It could be, oh, I'm ignoring that email, like I haven't replied to that email yet, whether you're ignoring it or not, but I haven't replied to that email yet. Or, oh, this thing's creeping up and I actually need to pay attention. I need to reach out to whoever I need to reach out to about that. Or, oh, there's that sense of something in this scenario socially that I've been pushing aside and using work as an excuse, as a distraction, that I kind of just need to sit with and explore my feelings around, as an example. And what happens when you write them down, first and foremost, there are extra steps, but what happens when you write them down is it does just let it kind of settle for a moment, and you tend to get a little bit of clarity around it. And the next thing is to just take it one by one. Little by little does the trick, right? So take it one by one and do what you can on that list. So just pick something, pick one thing at a time and go, okay, well, I can do that right now. And usually it's something that takes about 2 minutes. Usually, if it's a to-do thing, often it's not a big thing. And what that does is it removes the weight of that thing, of your brain trying to remember and remind you to do that thing. You've written it down, so there's that external reminder, but you can also feel, your brain can also feel that relief of having done it as well, which is a really, really big thing. Mark Manson talks about the science of the brain in his book, Everything is Fucked, a book about hope. It's actually really, really good. I recommend it. But in that, he really puts it simply in how we make decisions and what part of our brain is needed to make decisions. And often it's actually the feeling part of our brain, not so much the logical part of our brain. So we need to feel like it. So the example is, like, we may know that if you're a smoker, you may know that, well, you should probably know that smoking is bad for you and that it's not good for you in any way, but You have to feel like you can know all the logical reasons why you are better off not smoking, but you have to feel like it in order to make change. So when you write down these things that are weighing heavy, even if they're small things that are weighing heavy on your list, if you write them down, you are more likely to step into that feeling part of your brain that goes, oh, that's a lot easier than I thought it was, or it's a little less confusing now that it's on paper and now I suddenly feel like doing it. And all of these things just support you, and they're simple steps. They support you in relieving some of that compiled stress that can add up, and it means that you don't have this extraneous sense of stress or anxiety or things to worry about, in addition to other things to stress or be anxious or worry about as well. You're taking care of things, and that builds up this sense of accomplishment as well, which goes a long way into how you can then approach other tasks, and maybe bigger tasks or more complicated tasks from there. So start with a list. Many people recommend doing the to-do list. This isn't even for a to-do list. It's just kind of just get it on paper list and start there, and you'll find that it becomes a lot easier to approach and a lot less scary, a lot less complicated, and often a lot clearer than what we thought it would be.